Really?
You'll have a shoestring budget. You'll eat fast food for every meal.
You'll work 18-hour days, and you'll love every minute of it.
So what do you say?
When do I start?
Finally, we're getting some new updates about Red, White, and Royal Blue 2, and this time, the author herself has cleared up the status of the sequel, which is exciting considering it's been 2 years since the first film came out. So let's go through everything we know so far. Prime Video has really become a go-to platform for adaptations of all kinds. They've successfully brought action-packed stories like Reacher, Jack Ryan, and The Terminal List to life, while also exploring fantasy worlds with The Wheel of Time. But they haven't stopped there. They've also tapped into the young adult and romance genres with shows like The Summer I Turned Pretty, Daisy Jones and the Six, We Were Liars, and of course, Red, White, and Royal Blue. The last one premiered in 2023 and immediately became a hit with both audiences and critics. Starring Nicholas Galitzine and Taylor Zakhar Perez, the movie is based on Casey McQuiston's 2019 novel of the same name. It became so popular that Amazon MGM Studios decided to greenlight the sequel, even though there wasn't any pre-existing source material to continue the story. Fast forward 2 years from the film's debut, and McQuiston has finally addressed the sequel's progress, confirming to DNA via Deadline that the script for Red, White, and Royal Blue 2 is finished. The clarification came after some confusion earlier this month. At a library event, McQuiston mentioned that the pencils are kind of down for now when asked about the sequel. Fans immediately went online and speculated that production might be stalled. But the author quickly returned to clarify what she actually meant. On Instagram, McQuiston explained the phrase in a very relatable way. She said, "I don't know who needs to hear this, but pencils down is a figure of speech that refers to when you're taking the SAT or something and it's time to put your pencil down because that section of the test is done." She added that she used the expression countless times to describe finishing a manuscript, and it shouldn't be overanalyzed. The clarification was reassuring because it made it clear that the sequel isn't stuck, it's actually further along than fans might have thought. Even though it might take some time before filming officially starts, having a completed script is a huge step. The sequel is closer than ever to becoming a reality, and fans now have tangible proof that the project is moving forward.
I was 4 years old when I realized that everyone in my country knew my name, but I would never know theirs.
Before this, the last official update came earlier this summer. Director Matthew Lopez spoke about how challenging it was to develop the sequel without source material to lean on. He emphasized that the goal was to honor the original characters while also offering something fresh and surprising. Lopez said, "We wanted to honor what people loved about the first film, but also challenge expectations about what comes next. And we want to make sure we do right by the movie that people really loved." McQuiston also shared a bit about what the sequel will explore. In an interview with Yahoo Entertainment, she teased that the story will focus on Alex and Henry's life after the first film. While the original story ends on a romantic note, the sequel will dig into what happens after the honeymoon phase, exploring the pressures, expectations, and dreams that might conflict with each other, so fans can expect a deeper look at their relationship as it faces real-world challenges. The first Red, White, and Royal Blue was a massive hit. Amazon MGM Studios officially announced the sequel in May 2024 after the film dominated streaming charts globally, holding the #1 spot for 3 weeks straight. Taylor Zakhar Perez and Nicholas Galitzine are set to reprise their roles, which is great news for fans who fell in love with the chemistry between Alex and Henry. The story centers on Alex, the son of US President Ellen Claremont, played by Uma Thurman, and Prince Henry of the British royal family. Their secret romance threatens not only diplomatic relations between the UK and US, but also Claremont's re-election campaign. The movie leaned into classic fan-favorite tropes like enemies to lovers and forced proximity, as Alex and Henry navigated their feelings while hiding their relationship. Audiences absolutely adored the film, giving it an impressive 92% approval rating. Even though critics weren't as overwhelmingly positive, the movie still earned a respectable 75% on the approval scale, enough for a certified fresh badge. Fans of the novel largely appreciated the adaptation, even if there were a few changes from the books. The sequel has a lot of potential because it can explore how living their lives in the public eye affects Alex and Henry's relationship. Unlike the first movie, which focused heavily on the coming out aspect of their romance, the next story could focus on the challenges of being in an established relationship under intense scrutiny. This approach would be a fresh take for a queer rom-com, exploring new layers of drama and romance. One exciting aspect of the potential sequel is how the couple's relationship might be received by the world. The movie could continue the warm and romantic tone of the first film, while also showing the real-world challenges that come with public scrutiny. Many romantic sequels tend to put the relationship itself in jeopardy, and it's likely that Alex and Henry will encounter some of their first major bumps along the way. Fans of the book will also remember that McQuiston wrote a bonus chapter set 5 years after the events of the original story. This chapter follows the couple's life in New York, and it could serve as an inspiration for the sequel. If the movie chooses to follow this chapter, it might explore Alex and Henry's engagement and Alex's political ambitions, something that has been a recurring theme in both the book and the first movie. However, the sequel doesn't necessarily need to stick to the timeline of the bonus chapter. It could take place anywhere, even in the 5-year gap between the original novel and the bonus chapter. As long as Alex and Henry are front and center and their dynamic remains intact, the story would feel like a natural continuation of the red, white, and royal blue universe. At this point, it's still unclear exactly when the sequel will be released. While the script is complete, production timelines haven't been announced yet. Also, since the movie just premiered, there hasn't been enough time to fully assess viewership metrics from the first 28 days, metrics that are often used to gauge audience interest and predict how sequels might perform. Still, the fact that the script exists is a huge positive. It signals that the creative team is serious about moving forward even if filming hasn't begun. McQuiston and Lopez's dedication to honoring the first film while also exploring new directions for Alex and Henry's story makes the project promising. To recap, here's what we know so far. Red, White, and Royal Blue 2 has a finished script, co-written by Casey McQuiston and Matthew Lopez. The phrase "pencils down" doesn't indicate a stall in production, it simply means the script is complete. The sequel will likely focus on Alex and Henry navigating their relationship after the honeymoon phase, exploring pressures from their personal ambitions, public scrutiny, and the challenges of being a high-profile couple. The story could take inspiration from McQuiston's bonus chapter, exploring Alex's potential run for office and the couple's engagement in New York, or it could take a completely different timeline. Either way, the key point is that Alex and Henry remain the heart of the story, and their journey will continue to resonate with fans of the first film and the book. The original adaptation was such a hit because it combined romance, humor, and political intrigue in a way that felt both fresh and entertaining. The sequel has the potential to deepen these themes while giving fans more insight into the characters' growth. Watching Alex and Henry navigate the highs and lows of a committed relationship in the public eye could make for a compelling follow-up, offering both emotional stakes and a continuation of the light-hearted charm that made the first film so beloved. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.